Here's a tip about parenting and having conversations with your kids when they are feeling tense or upset, frustrated, grumpy, and all that kind of stuff, right? So what I've noticed is that when my kids are a lot younger and when they were not quite able to put into words about how they feel, so this is like the age of like maybe toddler to young kids before going up to like school at the age of 7 onwards, right? What I've done is this very interesting technique called sportscasting. And I've noticed that taking this technique, sportscasting, into their later years have also been very helpful for them too. And this is how it goes. Whenever your child comes to you feeling a certain way, and you notice that in the tone of their voice, in their body language, and they come to you or they are not just feeling it, and you observe that, and you want to find out what's going on, right? So what you can do is that just describe to them what you see in them. Okay. And when I say describing what you see in them, what I mean is that you tell them exactly what you see rather than what you interpret. Okay. Here's the difference. If if I say, oh, I noticed that that you have a frown on your face and your shoulders is hunched forward. How are you feeling? That is describing how my child is like at the moment. If I say something like, hey, you look angry, and I say that because I look at the front of her face and her shoulders are being hunched, right? That is interpreting, okay? So sportscasting is a technique that you describe back to your child what you see in your child because it helps the child to realize that this is what's going on for her on the outside. And when you say that in a way that is neutral, that is calm, that is curious also, it also might invite further conversations as well. Usually, when I use this with my kids, right, usually the conversation goes in two ways, okay? The first way is that my kid is so ready to tell me what's going on. So he or she could be telling me like, oh, this is what happened in school. I'm like, rah, 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 and all that. And I want that because I've always encouraged my children to bring your friends home, let me see who your friends are. I think it's so fun, right? You can always have play dates here. You can always have it over for a meal. It's fun for you, it's fun for your friends, and at least I know who you're mixing around with as well. Um, on the other hand, if my kids, right, is not ready to speak about it, and they are like going like either like they're shrugging their shoulders and going like, I don't know, or they are like not wanting to talk about it, I actually just give them a hug and just tell them that, hey, it's really okay if you don't want to talk about it. I just want you to know that if you feel ready and you want to kind of talk to me about it, I'm always here for you. I just leave it as that, and of course, with a hug or two, a kiss on the forehead, the kind of things, love. So in this, right, however the conversation goes, whether they really talk about it or they're not, at least they're getting the message from me that I'm always here. I will never run away from their conversations, no matter how difficult or emotional it can be. That creates safety as well. And I've noticed that by doing that, it is also more in flow. It's also easier to have that kind of conversations too. In short, in these conversations, right, when they're ready to tell me what's going on, I've never told them things like, that's a small thing, why is it such a big deal? I never do that because I've always realized that to us as an adult, we live through so many years in our human life. Of course, things that happen to the kids' life sound small to us because we've gone past that already. But for our children, it is a very new experience to them. They have maybe go through it like one time, two times. Even if they go through it 10 times, it's still very new compared to us, right? And I've always tell them, I always treated that whatever they say to me is a big thing. So whether it is small things like my daughter comes to me wanting to show me her latest like scribbles or drawings, in her animation. All that she will show me or tell me a fun fact about her day or something that she read or something that she watched. To me, I always treat it as big things because when I create that level of like, okay, I'm ready to listen to you, tell me what is it. I also open up the stage for them to share me about the things that is truly important and hard for them as well, with me too. So yeah, the last thing I can give you is that if your kid is ready to tell you what's going on and it feels really hard, right? I've always feel like don't ever give a solution for them. It is okay to be curious and ask the questions like, how are you feeling? Also, what would you like to do about it? Ask questions. Let them find their own answers. I've always think that because I also serve as a coach for women as well, right? I've always noticed that, like the well-meaning friend who tries to give you advice and you don't take it because they're giving you advice that doesn't quite fit or you're not ready for it. Same thing for children as well, okay? So I noticed that if I give them advice when they're not ready, they're not going to take it, right? So I rather support them in finding their own ways. And in that, it also helps them to create the neural pathway in the brain, right? To be resilient, to be resourceful, and to be creative as well. So that means no giving them solutions, but asking them questions to have them get clear about what they can do. Or at the very least, right, have them get to the stage where they are calm in their brain and they can think about it. Okay. What I will do in a future lesson is that I'll be talking a little bit more about the brain psychology. When a person is riled up and tense and angry and frustrated, and when the brain is calm. Very different. And you want to notice that the information they can take in is also quite different as well. See you in the next lesson.